Hello and welcome to my review of the new 3-star identity for the 4.5 Limbus event. In this video, I'll be going over my thoughts and opinions on the new identity, Molar Boltworks Fixer Ishmael. I will review her skills and synergies, and then give my opinion on if you should pull, shard, or skip this new addition to the game.
드라이버를 좀 더 개조해봤죠. 아무래도 역시 이걸로 그 큰 놈을 잡아봐야겠어요.
Boltworks Fixer Ishmael is an offensive-oriented identity that specializes in inflicting status effects like tremor count and sinking, as well as inflicting tremor count on herself to give her bonuses to her Skill 2 and Skill 3. Her Skill 1 is a solid 7-10, totaling 17, that'll give herself tremor count to be used for her other skills, as well as inflicting 3 tremor count and 2 sinking on the opponent. This is a solid Skill 1 that can work to support herself as well as other sinking or tremor units, and is otherwise a solid damage Skill 1. Her Skill 2 is a 10-15, totaling 25, or if she manages to get 5+ tremor count on herself, it could be an 11-17, totaling 28. This skill follows her theme of inflicting tremor count and sinking, as well as next turn defense level down. The debuffs it applies can help with self and team synergy, and the 4 defense level down translates to about 1 fragile next turn. However, despite these benefits, her Skill 2 is definitely lacking in the damage department for an offensive identity, though this does not mean it is a bad skill by any means. Her Skill 3 is a shank-statted skill that has a plethora of buffs and debuffs. It can gain bonus coin power if she has 5 or 10 tremor count. However, this condition cannot be met until turn 3 or later, so keep this in mind when bringing her in your team. It has great damage potential and inflicts a nearly 20 to 30 damage worth of sinking to abnormalities, and as a bonus, if you have that tremor count stored up from previous turns, she can apply 1 to 3 fragile next turn, which is definitely the best debuff in the game currently. Her Skill 3 does 8, 13, 18, totaling 49, that can be increased even further later into combat, and is a great Skill 3 that carries a strong baseline as well as having great potential. Her defensive is a Pride Affinity 14 roll evade that gives her Rupture protection on use. A 14 roll evade is nice to have, however, the Rupture protection it gives is largely useless, since if you're evading attacks, you likely won't be getting hit to proc Rupture anyways. Her passives activate with Owned Pride and will cause attacks to inflict bonus sinking count to enemies of Tremor. These are nice buffs to help upkeep sinking count, which synergizes well for own kit, as her skills gain bonuses based on enemy sinking. Boltworks Fixer Ishmael is definitely a very solid identity. She applies some very nice debuffs, and she can gain solid buffs to make her hit even harder. Her Skill 1 is above average, her Skill 2 is decent, and Skill 3 is great. As a bonus, since she is part of the currently ongoing 4.5 event, she specializes in dealing with the new event content, as well as granting 40% more scrap when you bring her along. If you are looking for an easier or faster time to clear the event, as there is a bit of a grind, I would definitely recommend pulling or sharding for her. Since she is an event-exclusive identity, she will not be obtainable by any means next season, so she is definitely something nice to pick up. However, if you are already low on resources and don't care too much to speedrun the event, she is definitely a skippable identity, as she has 2 other very strong 3-star identities as well, which I will be going over later. Since she applies a large amount of tremor count as well as sinking and sinking count, she has great synergy with identities that also work off of those status effects. I would recommend her in a team comp like this one, that you can see on the screen right now, with her best synergies being Splice Bushy Sang and Rose Spanner Raja, and then bringing along Arheath and Enclair for the big damage. Her Sin affinities being Pride, Sloth, and Gloom also synergize quite well with Sunshower Yi Sang, which is easily the best ego in the game right now. If you don't own some of these identities or egos, she is still great as a standalone pick, as she packs quite a good punch by herself and doesn't require her synergies to be an effective character. Finally, I will give my opinions on how Boltworks Fixer Ishmael stands compared to her other identities in the current state of the game. She is definitely a very strong unit, however, I think she falls short compared to Reindeer Ishmael at Uptime 4, since Reindeer Ishmael brings more damage and power for the same amount of relative setup. She is also quite close to Liu Ishmael, where I'd call them even side grades of each other. But I would say at Uptime 4, Boltworks Fixer slightly beats out Liu Ishmael due to Sin affinities and debuff synergies. However, an important thing worth noting is that she is very likely her best identity at Uptie 3, so if you do not want to invest the bonus resources into Reindeer Ishmael to get her to Uptie 4, she is a great alternative option. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, please do let me know, as feedback would be greatly appreciated, especially since I am still very new to doing this sort of thing. See ya!